Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kevin Williams. I'm involved in traces since 1987, and I'm going to take you through the setting up and doing of a export health certificate on Traces Classic, which is the one that we are presently using. As Lorna has said earlier, we are going to go to Traces NT at a later stage, sometime this year. When you go up on your, so I'm going to start off by, when you go up on your search engine, in my case I'm using Microsoft Edge, you'll type in Traces Classic, and this is the screen that will open up in front of you. Now I'm using a training website that the department has access to do this. You enter in your email address, which you can see I have already entered here, and you enter in your password. Your password will be 10 digits in length. That's your personal password. It will be one capital letter and at least one capital letter, one digit, and one number at the minimum. When I go then, I log in here, and the screen that opens up in front of me here is this one. As I said already, this is the training website, but normally this will have all the notice boards on the front of the production site, or what we refer to as the live site. You go in here to the fourth one down, Export Health Certificate. You can see my cursor here flashing on it. You click on Export Health Certificate, and the search screen opens up in front of you. Now, because most of you have never done these before, practically none, you will be going down here to the lower left-hand corner of the screen where my cursor is moving around, and you'll click on New. When you open up New, this is the page that opens up in front of you. Back in the 70s and 80s, they called it the nomenclature code. We call it the CN code. Now, we have abbreviated it. The world has abbreviated it to the word CN code. In my particular case, I'm going to use 3 codes that are of particular interest for today's thing, and they are for hams, for pork. So I will click on 02 here, which is the beginning of the code. I then click on 03, and the one I'm going to use is 02031211, and if you go in here, you'll see here 020311, and click it again, and everywhere you can see a plus button, there's another CN code underneath that. And at this stage now, I've reached where I'm going to go. So what I have to do now is then go into the next one, the hams and shoulders as well, of domestic swine. And the one that I'm looking for here is 02031211. I click on that one. Now all commands, by the way, all commands on Classic Traces are in blue. I can see now here over on the right hand side, the model certificate that I will be using today is for CA. I want to drop this for a minute. You can see the very top one here is CA for Canada. The next one here, CL, is for Colombia, Hong Kong, Moldova, Mexico, and last but not least, New Zealand. Now, GB, Great Britain, will be in here in time to come. But for the sake of this training exercise, I'm going to use CA. So what I do is I will I'm going to assign 3 codes to this one. So what you do then is assign and add new code. I then come back in here to 0203. I'm putting in 02031219 this time. So I click on 0203 again, fresh or chilled, and I click other for 19, and for domestic swine again. And the one that I want is 0302 19, shoulders and cuts thereof. As you can see now, the model number is grayed out because I've already assigned it with the first one. So I'm going to pick a third one then as well, which will be, I can type it in here, 0203 1110. And if I go over here to the right hand side, I can click on assign. At this stage now, I have clicked my 3 codes for the 3 products that are going out on this certificate. So I click assign. That now brings me in to the start of filling the EHC, the European Health Certificate. I will always be working, and you will always be working from left to right. So references will come first, then traders, then consignment, then transport, and then route. Now, in the particular case of references, I'm only going to be putting in, the only thing that will concern you here is attachments. Underneath here, you will see in blue the word add. You will click on this, and you will choose a file, just like on the screen here. This will bring you into your shared drive, where you will go in. You will go into your. In my case, I'm going into this PC, and for me, this one, I'm going into this one, Webinar Thursday. I put this up for ease of movement. Now, the one I'm picking today is the CMR. That's the first one that has to go up. And I'm also going to pick, that's what I'm going to put up now. As you can see, once I have picked it, it comes up here as DAFM approved, 4 to the 3rd, 21, XLSX. You then click upload. And you can see it has appeared here. Now, when this arrives into the Department of Agriculture's Veterinary Office, they will click on download to open it. And they will then be able to check it. The traders then, I go into the traders. Now, the traders is very important. In Traces Classic, which I'm about to go in and show you, the FBOs may note that multiple entries for your food business establishments involved in export activities, there may be multiple entries, will only lead to much confusion. So, what has been done by the Department of Agriculture, as we're the consignor, as Ireland is the consignor, you'll put in Ireland. Now, for the sake of this exercise, what I may do here is, what I normally do in this particular instance, is I will move my screen over here to the right-hand side. And I go back to references, and I'll open up the webinar, or the CMR. Which I'm just waiting for to open. Now, I'll work with this from here on. So what I do now is I go into the traders page. I go into consignor. I'm hoping you can see all this clearly. When I go in here to select, and I put in the country that it's originating from is Ireland, and the consignor in this particular case is DAFM approved FBO. Again, you go down here underneath to the search screen. Now, in all cases on classic traces, do not use your enter button on your keyboard. It will not work with it. You must use your cursor and click search. As you can see, there are a number of DAFM approved numbers up here, which are all up with different names. Now, where there are multiple entries for your establishment, please select the entry of your business established marked with the letter A. You can see my cursor here sorry, my cursor here flashing around on it, which has been added after the name of your establishment. This marker is capital A in brackets after the FBO name. This is the updated entry for your establishment. It has been created as a marker by the Department of Agriculture staff following registration on Classic Traces. This updated entry is to be used for all future activity. In order to ensure that the FBO chooses the correct updated entry for their food business establishment, marked with the capital letter A in brackets, ensure that the current air code and approval number are also listed for this establishment. In this particular case, the one that I am using, DAFM approved FBO-A, you can see it's marked establishment here. This is the correct approval number for this one. The address is Farnham Street, Cavan, and here the air code is on it, so you will click on select. What now happens when you click on select is the consignor's name, address, and postal code appear in 1.11, in 1.1, and in the place of origin, 1.11. You can see the country name, the address, the establishment, and the kind of approval it is that will be up here. So that is important to make sure that those are correct. The next thing then that we do is you're now going to put in the consignee. So you go through the exact same procedure again, but you'll notice a big difference now. When you go into country, the only country that will appear in the drop-down menu is Canada, or in your particular case, GB, because the model certificate that we're using is only approved for the export of pork, in this particular case, to Great Britain. Now, we're using Canada in this example. It's the best one that we could come up with. Now, the consignee's name is the general company. That's the one that we are using. And I've just typed it in here. Again, you go down to the left-hand side to the search button. Click on search. You can see here that two of them come up. General Company 3966145. This is the approval number that this company has in Canada. The general company that I was referring to, in this particular case, General Company 3966145, cold store. So that's the one that I'm going to use for this particular thing. So I'm going to select this. You will now see that what has happened is the place, the consignee's name has gone in here in Canada, and underneath in 1.12, the place of destination has filled in with the approval number, and the country of destination is Canada. The traders page has now been completed on this, so now I move on to the consignment, and this will be very important for you. I'll have to make this one slightly bigger. Now, in this particular case, you can see here the animal species, the product, the CN codes that I picked, the 3 CN codes are listed here on the left-hand side. The department officers will be checking this against the correspondence that you yourselves will give to them. On the right-hand side, the total number of packages will go in here, the total gross weight of the product. Now, this is important. If the product is going out on pallets, that is the total gross weight that will go in here. So what we'll do first of all is the temperature of the product. For this particular case, you can see here on the left-hand side, it's in as fresh or chilled. So I'm putting it in as chilled. Now, 1.22 commodities are certified for human consumption. You must click these radial buttons. If you don't, a red line will come up at the top of your screen telling you that these haven't been completed correctly. In some particular cases, in some companies that I'm talking to this morning, you're going to have huge numbers. You're going to have quite a lot of product going out. So there's a function on traces. You can add lines if you wish to. You can add 10 lines, or you can go into import and import the CSV file, which will be set up. So what I will do is I will go into choose file. Again, I go back into my shared drive and I go up here to for import. This is the one that I'm going to use. Click open. You can see it has come in here, and then I click upload. Now you can see what has happened. Your CSV file has now come in. You will remember the default thing, there was 3 blank empty ones. These must be removed. And the third one that must be done, the fourth one that must be done is at the very bottom of the screen. That's what happens by default. Now, another thing that needs to be done, you will note here on the on the left-hand side, under the commodity code, they're all under the one commodity code. These must be changed. You must remember to do that. So in my particular case, I will be changing the hams here. These will be going to 1.1, and that must be done for them all. And the shoulders down here are under 1.9. So again, you must change these 3 commodity codes. Now, once you have that done, and you can see here that the net weight is down here, the net weight has now filled in as 2.600 kilos. So what I'm going to do as a round figure is I'm going to put in 2.700 kilos. Now, this is only a training example. It's not realistic, but the reason that the gross weight is 100 kilos heavier than the net weight is I'm including the weight of the pallet on that. That's now, I know a pallet doesn't, but it's just, I'm only using this as an example. So 2.7 is the gross weight. The net weight here that you see here is just the weight of the products in the boxes. I then go on, I have now completed the consignment page. So what I now do is I come in here to transport. And again, we must make a decision on who the transporter is. Now, the transporter's name that's going in here, I have the transporter listed down here as Transporter General Trade org 380040. So what I do is I go in here to select into transporter at 1.17, go into the country as Ireland. By the way, it can be whatever country. Now, if it's going out by air, it'll obviously be the country and the flight. I'll come to that in a minute. And then I type in the name here, General Trade. When I click search again, lower left-hand side, you can see now it has filled that the General Trader, it's a commercial transporter, Kings Road, 87, Cork, Ireland, and the IE approval number. Now, this is an Irish, we're an island, so all transports leaving the island of Ireland must be type 2 commercial transporters. So you can't use a private transporter, somebody who is listed on Traces as a private transporter. The transport company must be up on Traces Classic and Traces NT as a commercial transporter, type 2. I now move from 1.17, where I've now entered the name of the transporter, down here to under 1.15, means of transport. Because we're an island nation, you are not to use, the habit would be to use, your first instinct would be to use, it's a road vehicle because it's a juggernaut. That would be incorrect. We're an island nation, so therefore ship and road vehicle must be used in this particular case simply because we are going by ship and road. Now, the identification that goes in here, the identification is the registration on the front of the vehicle. Why do you put in the identification of the vehicle? You put in the identification of the vehicle here. The reason being, the reason that you put that in is that when this reaches the portal inspectors in both Ireland and in Britain, they will get the certificate, the certificate of the driver, who will hand it out to them through his window. They will walk around to the front of the vehicle. They will check down through the certificate, and they will check that the identification on the front of the vehicle is the same as the identification that has been pre-printed into the, so this is very important. The registration of the vehicle, of the tractor that is bringing the fridge to Britain must be put on. Now, in the event, the other thing that will be needed in your particular case is down here at 1.21, the sealed container number. Seals, I don't know the thing about them yet. We're not sure what's happening on those, so therefore you will always enter for the foreseeable future until you're instructed otherwise by the department. You will put in the container number. In this particular case, I'm going to put in one that we have made up. So the container must be entered there. Now, down the road, I would say in the foreseeable future, we will have to start entering seals, and they will be put in here under seal number. But for the moment, just put in the container number or the fridge number in there. The date of departure and the time of the departure. The date of departure will be the date and the time that it is leaving your premises, not the time that the boat is sailing from Larne, Belfast, Dublin or Rosslare. It will be from the time of departure will be when it is leaving your premises. So as today is the 4th, now you will see here on my left where my cursor is flashing, these dates must go in exactly as I have put it in. They cannot go in any different. They must go in as 04032021. It would be normal human nature to put in 040321. The same applies for the time of departure. Now, as it is now 10:43, and our load has to be gone by 12 o'clock out of your premises to make the boat. By the way, this clock, the clock on this works as a 24-hour clock. So if it's leaving at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., it will then go in as 1300, 1400, or 1500. So I'm going to put in 1200 here. It is not 12.00. It must go in as 12.00. If you do not put it in like that, in that correct format, it will then cause problems for you later on with red asterisks flashing up all over the place. Now, the next part of this will apply to my colleagues who would be to the food business operators that are working in the northern part of the country, particularly, who would be using Larne and Belfast as their ports of exit from the EU. They will have to put in here at 1.26 transit through a member state. Obviously, they will have to put in here, and it's up on the system as Northern Ireland. You will then put in the EU exit point here I'm going to continue with the transit through the member state. Now, equally, if you're not transiting a member state, you will just leave this blank and you will put in the exit point, which I'm going to put in from Ireland. I'm simply going to put in Dublin. I'm putting in Dublin Port. And I select it. Now, I know that the address you saw there isn't correct. Ignore that. The entry point at 1.16 must also be filled. This entry point is the point of entry into Great Britain. Now, in my particular case, because the model certificate we're using is for Canada, it obviously has to be a Canadian port. But equally, if it was a British, Great Britain certificate, the entry point would be a port of entry in Britain. Now, the ports of Britain that I've got put up on Traces Classic are as follows. Starting in the far north, we have the port of Carnryan, we have Liverpool, we have Holyhead, we have Fishguard, and we have Pembroke. But for the sake of this training exercise, I'm going to use it. I can only use Canada, obviously, because of that. So I'm going to put in Toronto. And you click search, Toronto Port comes up, Toronto Airport. So I will use Toronto Port. At this stage now, you, the FBOs, have almost completed your cert. So what you will do, you have a choice. You can save it as a draft to make further changes to it later on if you wanted to. So this certificate could be got ready 4, 5, 6 days in advance, or you can submit it immediately for the for the veterinary office in your place of business to certify. So you will click here on submit for certification. You will not see validate. Validate is only on DAFM staff's certificates. So you will click on submit for certification. The consignment, the identification of the commodity. You can see now here that I have made a mistake, and the mistake has come up here in front of me. So I must go back in here to commodities 1.25. Identification, the sum of the packages exceeds the number entered in box 1.22. Yes.
Hi Kevin, it's Jared. It's 160 actually is the total number of packages for that CMR document.
Sorry, thank you, Jared. Apologies for that. Yeah. Now you can go in here and submit for certification. And I'm just waiting on my broadband. You will now enter your password here. If you were doing multiple certificates on the same day, you just click here on use the same password for subsequent signatures and then sign the certificate. Now, this is the screen that will open up in front of you. Now, I would strongly advise at this stage now, it is your job to come over here to take note of the export number. So you can do one of two things. You can open the certificate at the reference page, which is here. And you can see here the traces reference number is export.ie.2021.5030-VI. You must send this number. You must send this traces reference number to the RVO. To the veterinary staff office in your food business premises where they are working. The other thing you can also do is you can come back here and you can put in the consigner, which is which will be yourselves. And what you can do is you can simply put in the consigner as DAFM dot general approved number. And you can see here on my, they're all underneath here. Now, the one that I have done this morning, that you have done, that I have done on your behalf this morning is export.ie.2021.450830. And over here, your status is up as new. This is what will appear on the veterinary office's computer when they open it up in your business premises.